Good morning. I am going to build a fire pit for my son and daughter-in-law this morning. We've talked about it a few different times, and you can go and you can buy these metal fire pits which last a year, 2 years, and they rust out and just don't really work that well. So yesterday I went to Home Depot, counted it out, measured it out. I got 48 blocks. I think I need 45 and a half blocks, but I got a couple extra. And to get the circumference right, sometimes you have to take some of these blocks and split them, and that's why they've actually got a line there. They'll take a chisel, give it a little chisel and crack it. We may need to do one, and if we do, I'll show you how later. But what I'm going to do first, I've measured out where I want it. I'm going to put down 4 or 5 bags of leveling sand. I'm going to take my level, make sure the ground's level, put my first row down, then put 2 more rows, bring them in. We may have to adjust, but the whole project with the materials cost me about $60 versus spending $100 or $200 or whatever it may be on a metal one that rusts out in a year or two. So anyhow, I'm gonna back up here and get started. Hopefully you can hear me. What I do typically, I just pour all the sand right in the middle and then fan it out where I want it. So we've pretty well got it leveled. We don't necessarily need a lot of sand in the middle. I'm using the sand to level the sides. This seems a bit lower here. So you may have to take some in, take some out, do a little adjustment. My plan is to put 14 blocks on the bottom row. So I think that's where we'll start. So maybe we'll take a little pause, and I'll get a couple of more bricks in, and then we'll come back when the first row's finished. Well, when we stopped last time, I continued to lay the blocks down and level them. As we talked about, getting this first row is imperative. If you start off with a crooked, unlevel row on the bottom, it's going to be crooked and unlevel all the way through. So some of the blocks took out, put a little more sand, some of them, put more sand under it, and I took a level. I have two levels. One, I'll take a level and I'll put it this way to make sure that I've got the blocks level with each other. Then of course you'll want to go, across, and you're wanting that's almost perfectly level there. You just go around and check as you go. It depends on how level you want it to be. You could do, spend an hour and a half leveling it. I've probably spent about 15 to 20 minutes leveling it, and it's 95% level. So now what I'll do is I'll start the second row and just offset them. So we'll go up 2 more rows, and then we should have a really nice fire pit. You stagger them, set one in between each stone and equally space them around. And I always start on the front, and these have this little grip here so they lock on the back of the last stone so they don't slide forward. And like everything, you'll need to adjust. We may find out that, like I said, we may need a half block somewhere, and if so, we'll chisel it and then break it. It's always kind of nice, you got an extra pair of hands, but this is really a project one person can do on their own. So we can keep filming, or we can pause it as I hear the neighbor's got his lawnmower going, and we'll come back when the next row's done. Okay, back again. What we've done is we've got the first 2 rows on, everything leveled on those. And another thing I forgot to mention, it's a great tool to have, is a rubber mallet. And typically wrap it with plastic or something so you don't mess up the mallet, but it can definitely help you when you're trying to level some of these or move them over just a 1/4, 1/8 of an inch or something like that. We've got this one 2 rows already. I'm going to go ahead and put the 3rd row on, tap it, get it all worked in. Fortunately, we did not have to cut a stone on that second row, which I thought we might have to, but we're pretty near done. Let me go ahead and I'll get the top row on, and like I said, let me put 1 block on here. All I'm doing is I'm lining them up in the middle, right over the gap, right with the middle line in the brick, and putting the lip on the inside. And you may have to tap them a little forward, tap them over or back. It's just a matter of taking a little bit of time and just keep adjusting. But as I said, this is probably about an hour project if you have all of your stuff. 30 minutes to an hour. I always say 30 minutes, and it always takes me an hour. So but I'd say probably an hour, hour and a half at max if you're not experienced doing it. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna get the third row on, then we'll clean up a little bit, put some firewood in, and we'll be back. Hey, we're back. Actually, we've got the third row on. Everything's level, but as I talked about before, we have a gap here that's not quite big enough for a full stone. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to break a stone. And as we talked about, they have a cut here, so it makes it a little easier to break on that cut. But what I do is I make sure I got sunglasses or safety glasses, and I've got a cold chisel here, and I'm going to try to just mark it across, and hopefully we can get it to snap on this line. Never any promise. I've done it first time perfect, and I've also done it where I've broke 3 stones to get one right. So it's hard to say, but you do need a good chisel and a pretty good hammer for doing this. And it's a matter of just work that line. I guess you could use a hammer drill or maybe even a grinder, but I've always seemed to have pretty good luck just using a hammer and chisel. Now I kind of got a line scored. I'll tap it out a little bit more. We got started pretty early this morning, and it's fairly cool, but boy, with that full sun, it don't take long to get toasty. I'll do this 1 or 2 more times, and then I'm gonna hit it pretty hard and see what I can do. Get a second brick here. Line it up. Voila! There we go. We got 2 bricks. Now what I'll do is I'll take these 2 over there and figure out which one fits best. They're never exactly the same. I think this one's just a little bit bigger. I think this is going to be a nice one right here. So let's see if it fits. Nope. We actually do need a little bit bigger one. I thought the smaller one would do it. Okay. So we've got that one. And then what we'll do is we'll take and adjust them all to bring them in just a tiny bit, which will snug that one up. But we'll have to go all the way around. This is what takes the longest, is actually getting everything level and bringing things in. So we may do just a little more adjusting, but for the most part, I think we're set. I always walk everything really good, pack it down. I'll check it one more time for level. And do a couple adjustments here and there. And let me get some of these tools out of the way. You can see what we're doing. Let me finish it up, clean up the area a little bit, and we'll come back and wrap it up here in just a minute for you. Hey, we're back. I just wanted to follow up with you. As you can see, we've finished what we've got. We ended up with 12 stones on the bottom, 4 bags of sand first, 12 stones, 12 stones in the second row, and 11 and a half stones on the top row. Like I said, the hardest part's getting it level, taking that rubber mallet, tapping it, moving it, measuring it, tapping it again, leveling it again. You know, you want to make sure the fronts are together. The backs will be apart a little bit, gap. That's the way it's supposed to be. If you like this video, this is Grandpa's Garden, and we've got several other videos out there. We've just recently started doing a lot of these. We've got some on gardening tips, building projects, water features, a lot of different things. But if you would, go ahead and check us out and join up, subscribe, follow us, and hopefully this was helpful, and hopefully you enjoyed the video. Looks like we're ready to build a nice little campfire this weekend, and hopefully you guys have a great weekend. Thank you very much for watching.